All right, guys. So I thought I'd take a break from working on the house, which is probably going to take several years. Today, I attempted to jack up the chimney. And every time I jack it up and put boards under it and then let it down, it just drove the concrete pilings further down in the dirt. So what I did, I'll flip this around. I don't know if you can see the pile of brick here, but I took a moment to rip the chimney out to lighten the load. So I'm not sure that that's gonna help anything. I think I'm also gonna have to maybe pour some concrete pilings in the crawl space, but kind of exhausted on the tractor, kind of exhausted on the home. So I thought I'd take a walk up into the back of the property to check it out. I don't make it back there very much. I typically stay down here on the farm, but the deal with this property is we use such a small amount of it for the farm. Most of it is mountain. So I'm gonna flip this camera around and give you a show. Here's the chickens. At least the ones who stayed in the coop. That's the unfinished built coop. Nothing ever gets done around here. And there's some chickens, ducks and geese over there. One goose, I guess, not geese, goose. And he is for Christmas. And way down there, probably doesn't show up, is the well house. Probably a good 600 feet or so from the house. That needs some work as well. So anyway, from the homestead, there's an old logging road that takes up off here. So we're gonna head up here. Basically, I just try to come up here once in a blue moon to check and see that nobody's accessing the back of the property. It does happen from time to time. And I got a video, I think somewhere on my YouTube, showing the little meth operation that I found somebody had set up back here. So this is overgrown. I used to drive it, and I still could drive it, but I'd probably scratch the heck out of my paint. I don't know if I'm gonna come through here and thin it. I'd like to maintain it as an access, but I do have another road for access, so I don't know. So anyway, this goes up for ways. I'll refilm once I get up to the top of this. All right, guys, here I am at the top of the hill. It's finally leveled off. The dog has just scared some grouse. Come here, Ellie. Ellie! Good, Ellie, come on. Got a lot of grouse back here. And there's one logging road that takes off. It goes over to my water holding tank. The water to the house is gravity fed, and I'm thinking actually about changing that and putting in a pressure pot at the well and going directly to the house. So this is kind of the top of the hill and the back of the homestead, and then we'll go through those trees later. But one of the things I've done, guys, to keep the deer from coming down, what I'm trying to do, and I want to set up a water trough, but I've set up 3 apple trees. They're not doing very well. Deer haven't eaten them, but the gophers have been just eating their roots like crazy. So I set up 1, 2, and this one seems to be wilting, but I've watered it, so I don't get it. gophers might have gotten to the roots. And then this one actually died, but it's got new growth down there. So I'm hopeful that it might actually work out. So let's go down. I think it's this logging road. There's quite a few logging roads up here, but one of them, I've got the idea. Let's see if this is the one with the horse. Somewhere somebody buried a horse here. No, it's the next one. Yeah, I'll film when I get to the other logging road. I just had to show you the view, guys. That's the mountain range across the valley. Absolutely beautiful. Pretty much on the back of these properties, what most people are doing is rich people are buying them and they're putting homes, big monstrosity homes that overlook the valley in the Pend Oreilly River. Mine, since my homestead's down low, like most older homesteads. See guys, most old homesteads, they used to put the homes down low because like for instance up here on the back of my homestead, the snow stays much longer, so your growing season is much shorter. Nowadays people are trying to turn that around and they're putting their homesteads up high, but the growing seasons are much shorter. Not that any one way is wrong, I'm not saying that. So here, somebody buried a horse at one time. Wow. Don't ask me. I think that is let's see. Well, that would be a leg bone. But basically they didn't want to dig too big of a hole, so they just set the horse here and then covered it with logs apparently and a little bit of dirt. So yeah, we're gonna bust through here to the back of the property. I had a moose that's kind of, I mean, it doesn't live on my property year round, but it sure makes the property part of its little zone. And it's been here for the last 3 years. It used to have a baby, and then the last I saw it, there was no baby. So we're gonna go back here into the woods. There's not a lot of big trees because this property was logged at some point, as evidenced by these stumps. Illy, hey! There's Illy. She's a Laponian herder, which is a reindeer herding dog. I used to have another one, but these two didn't get along. So I gave the other one up to this lady in Portland. And I typically hate doing that, but I'll tell you what, that dog has an awesome, awesome home. Some sort of poo down there, I'm not sure. So we're gonna wind through the trees here. One of these days, I kind of want to come back here and make some snowmobile trails, because back here on the back of the property, it is thick. So here we are headed back to the back of the property. See, much of this property I don't use. Here's some bones of some sort. That looks like the back of a cavity of a skull. Jawbone. See what else we can find. Oh, here's a bone. This bone's been cut by a saw, so this is something that I've probably butchered and they've picked up from the farm and they've dragged to the back of the property. I do, when I butcher something, I put the bones out, you know, to feed the animals. Let's go through here. I really need to make a trail at some point. Ellie, come here. My dog has a way of wandering. Ellie! A lot of deer bed up in here, and I can see why. It's great coverage. And that's why I planted those apple trees, guys. Is I've got some down on the homestead, but I'm really wanting to offer them food to kind of keep them at bay. I put a salt block back there for them, and I'm gonna put some water back there for them at some point. Little clearing here. Not much growth, as you can see back here. Not much growth at all. Not much grows back here. I don't know that they got the water content up here this high. Underneath this dirt, it's really rocky. There's a bit of a clearing. We're coming out in a clearing now. I used to have a trailer that sat over there, an old pickup bed trailer. I gave that away for free. See, not much grass back here. I don't think I could... I mean, if I had my whole property fenced out, I could probably graze animals on it. But I've got a 7 or 9 acre, I've never actually measured it, I was told 9 acres, hayfield. And if I fence that out, that'd probably be enough. This is another old logging road that comes through here. I think it's up in here. We'll see. I found an old, I don't know what it is. It looks like an old, like where you'd feed animals from. I think it was here. Let's poke through here and see. Maybe not. I don't see it. More bones. I see more bones. That's an interesting find. A hose with a copper fitting. Old tree. Hey guys, it's just thick of trees in here. I'd like to come through and thin this out to give the healthier trees, you know, fighting chance. This looks to be, I'm not sure. Could it be an old fence post? Maybe. There's an old tree. Something's been chewing in there. All right, let's get out of this mess. After walking back here too, it's always a good idea to check yourself for ticks. The back of our property, actually the front as well. A lot of ticks. And this logging road here goes over to the what would be the northeast corner of the property. You know, there's always a lot of discussion about, ooh, wow. Look at that, guys. Barbed wire in the middle of nowhere. There's always a lot of discussion. I hear a lot of channels, especially who homestead and try to get off grid, and they've got easement issues. I've had no problem here, but I will tell you a story. My neighboring property, he doesn't like the access of his road up the front of his property. So he's been trying to buy 10 acres back there. And he's not been very nice about it. Like when I bought this property, there was no, hey, hi, you know, nice to meet you, welcome. It was more like, you know why nobody bought that property, huh? And you know, he kind of took that kind of attitude. But one thing he did is he snuck on this property, and this is prior to me owning it, and he logged quite a bit of it on this northeast corner, basically stealing the logs. Now this comes up to the end of my property on the east side, and you can see what he did. He's got his junk pile out there, and he literally has just carved up like this, straight up to the property corner. Down there, he's encroached on my property, and I went ahead and put a post out in the middle of his hopeful road. This is what he hopes to access his house with. But he's got to come through my property to do it, and that's not happening. When I told him I didn't want to sell 10 acres, he asked about an easement. I told him I don't do easements. So once in a while, I come back here, because I can't see back here, guys. I cannot police the back of my property. So I come back here once in a while just to check up and see what's going on. I'd love to come back here and do some brush, like whoever logged this. And I used to work for a logging outfit, and we'd make slash piles, but whoever logged this did not make a single slash pile. Not a one. So unfortunately, if there was a fire, I've got a lot of burnable shit here. I think up here, if I'm not mistaken, this is yet another old logging skid road, is where I found that meth pile. I'm not sure. Let's try to find it. I may not find it today, guys, but I recall that some of that liquid splashed out on my pants and shoes and everything, and it ate it right away like nobody's business. No, I can't. Must be the road behind. This in here is an old logging slash that goes back into those trees there. Those trees are all on my property, and then past those trees is where that guy carved out. And then this would be on my property. He wants the 10 acres that away. Not gonna happen. So guys, one of the things I'm thinking about, I'll show you. Here's my salt lick that I leave out. And guys, I don't really hunt because I have so many farm animals. But I do put a mineral block out for the deer. I can't say they use it. Looks like the rain's gotten into it more than anything. But one thing I'm thinking about doing, of course, keeping the farmhouse, but there's a location right back in here in this clearing, and I can access this via a side road that goes up my property, so I don't even have to use the driveway that I currently do. But like this clearing right in here, if you were to go that way quite a ways over, you would hit a paved road. And back here on the back of the property, it's amazing how much longer the snow lasts. But minus that little clump of trees there, if I were to build in this area, I'm thinking about doing a little small A-frame. You can see the view. A little bit of the view of the valley. That mountain is way on the other side of the valley, clear over in there. And yeah, at some point it would all grow up. But this here is somewhat more secluded than the farm. It's quieter, it's more mountain. I wouldn't necessarily do farming back here. But, I mean, I'd have maybe some animals, but as far as growing season, it's pretty short because it goes up quite a bit in elevation. And there's some clearings like this are pretty, you know, they're throughout the property, clearings like this. But as you can see, not much grows here, not much water. And I don't know that it would be a good idea, you know, possibility to irrigate it. The well that I have at the bottom of the property is a 400-foot well, and I'm considerably higher up here, guys, so I don't know about the well. This is another log-in road. They dissect all throughout this property. I think at one time the old owner ran cattle. Of course, land like this, it takes far more acres for cattle, and that's probably why they chose acres or cattle, is because they had the acreage, but they didn't have the lush green grass. The only grass I seem to have is in the bottom of my property, and specifically in my hayfield, because the hayfield has a natural spring that comes out the side of it year round. But look at this view, guys. Another possible building spot, you know. Pretty remote up here. And that's a view of the other side of the valley. Between this valley and the other valley is you have the Pend Oreilly River. So and that tree there out by its lonesome right there, there used to be 3 trees. 2 of them blew down in a windstorm, and that's the one that is on my YouTube photo, actually. I always wonder when it's gonna go down. So we're gonna head down here through the brush. Come on, Illy. Illy. But the problem, unless I owned a cat, the amount of brush down here is just way too much. Like a fool, the first year I came here, as you can see this stake, I planted trees everywhere. But, so you'll find these throughout the property, but there's no trees. The deer just chewed them off. And if it wasn't the deer, then when summer hit, we have a really short summer, but for some reason it dries up, and it dries up quick. Like August is just brutal. They had some big trees out of here, man. And there's some prairie dogs that I eradicated from the hayfield, but up in here there's still a lot of prairie dogs. That's a nice Christmas tree. Wow. May have to remember this guy for Christmas. Although it's too nice to cut down. I'm trying to reforest this. So right now I'm probably about the halfway point between the property, the front and the back of the property. But this is most of the property, guys. This is why I don't walk it. This is why I don't use it for anything. It's this thick, really. This is most of the property. I'm gonna try to get through here. Damn. Come on, Ellie. My dog has a mind of its own. It will wander. Shit. Foot just fell into a prairie dog hole. A lot of prairie dogs back here. And there's a view of the homestead, guys. So this hill in here, except for there's a lot of wood. Let me stand up on this stump here and show you. So you can see right in there, part of my hayfield. Then the homestead, I've thought about clearing basically from here down to the homestead and creating like one big hayfield. I really want to leave a lot of it in forest. So as of now, I've not decided. Ouch. I was hoping I could have remembered where that abandoned building was in the back. It's pretty cool, actually. And then here, this is an old chicken coop. It actually was standing when we bought this place. And then I just looked out one day and it was down. Fell down. Maybe someday I clear it. Maybe I never get to it. Just a lot of random little outbuildings like that. Here's another metal that maybe someday I drag out. Maybe I never do. Ellie, come on. Lost my dog. See, this is part of it. Oh, shoot, right there. Wow, dog. Good, Ellie. Hey. Hey, Ellie. Yeah, good girl. Yeah, good girl. You want to say hi to the people? This dog really wanted to be a one dog. It did not work out having two of them. So this used to be all, well, in brush like that. And I've cleared all this area out. It's now my new burn center. That's all the debris from around the homestead. And around the, where I've cleared out to extend the yard. And around the well house and around our root cellar. So that's pretty well it, guys.